Hi everyone and welcome to your daily tarot reading. Now today's cards are still under the very heavy influence of Neptune meeting Mars in the sky and both of them squaring a conversation of maximum tension, the Sun in the sign of Gemini. So the Sun is our ego, our sense of identity, and in the sign of Gemini, how we communicate, project, or show others our identities and everything who we think that we are. And this is exactly the main reason the Sun card is reversed, because these energies are extremely hard for our egos. And I don't mean this in a very negative sense. For most of us, there's absolutely nothing wrong with our egos, except that it needs to adapt and it needs to change. And no matter how open-minded we are, no matter how gentle, selfless, compassionate we are, it is still something extremely hard to do, because it's almost like a psychological surgery where we're changing some very, very delicate elements inside of ourselves. You know, the ego or our sense of identity is basically just a program that we need. It is absolutely imperative that we have it, because that is how we navigate through everything, society, nature, our relations with ourselves. It helps us get a grip on who we are, what we are, how we operate. So it is something absolutely necessary, but it is changing, it is adapting, it is being upgraded. And this means that on one hand, so very many things, emotions, perceptions, lived experiences of the past are being pulled to the surface by that very powerful Neptune and Mars, where Mars is activating Neptune in a way which no other planet can, and Neptune is in its home sign of Pisces, so it is extremely potent and strong. So basically this energy has no mercy. Even if we are someone who did inner work all our lives and we're very in tune, very aware with what happened in our past, and we're always standing from a place of maximum inner clarity, it still doesn't mean that we're not subject to this energy, because it's basically pulling everything to the surface so that we can either once more attribute emotional closure or become aware, so that it can actually crystallize within ourselves that we have already, achieved closure, forgiveness, whatever. While for other people, this is actually like forcing them to find that closure. But regardless, this is where a part of our old selves, our old identity, that program that we adapted to navigate through this physical, social, this time it really doesn't matter how we look at physical reality, we still need to abandon everything that belongs to the old. Our old selves, who we used to be, even if our old selves was an epitome of compassion, love, the most elevated person that we could possibly wish to become, even if we were that, we still need to abandon it, because this is where we are being purged to the very core of our beings. If we need to become that person who we were once more, no problem whatsoever, because we can step into that once more, but in a new and fresh and unique way, because this is, the new paradigm. Even if we are the same person, we still aren't, because we have to adapt to this new paradigm. Now, I know that many people watching my channel don't really like astrology, but I have to repeat once more. This is the first time when in 600 years, the Great Conjunction, which astrologically represents the new paradigm, which happens every 20 years, this is the first time when it's taking place in an air sign. So this is a very, very massive change, where we have to be totally different within our minds. So our minds have to be very, very clear, very, very cooperative, and most importantly function in a very healthy manner where we can identify every like social or informational pollutant that might be heading our way and block it out immediately, because we need to stay healthy mentally, and this is very very important for the future. Because yes, this is the empowerment, this is the big blessing, mind over matter, but this is also the disadvantage, because if we step into it with a very unhealthy mental sphere, well, that is going to be our greatest challenge. So if the sun reversed represents depression, that the ego just simply cannot cope with everything that is going on the world stage in our personal lives, especially if that something is a dichotomy where we stagnate, but we also don't stagnate because there's so much happening on the world stage that we just have to be in tune with it. This is the most positive kind of depression because it is teaching us the coping mechanisms needed for the future. Because, in 2021, when we're in deep waters, like really, really deep waters, well, then we have to know how to swim. So this is just preparing us, instructing us, teaching us how to live life in the very close future, where that future is absolutely uncertain. The mental sphere in itself, the element of air, is so very, very uncertain. Even in physical reality, right now it is sunny and clear and whatever, but that doesn't mean in half an hour a big storm cannot come out of nowhere. This is basically the instability, but the positive, progressive instability, the fertile chaos of the air element, because it is so easy to mobilize and it is so fertile and creative, but its creativity is like an instant discharge. So it doesn't work in the same way as the element of earth works. So this is what all of us are being prepared for. So this is the main symbolism of that sun card reversed. It is really hard for our egos, our sense of identity, and even if it's the healthiest possible expression, it doesn't mean, and it's no guarantee that this is not as hard for us as for those people who are struggling more with having to shut down all of their, illusionary fake desires that source from ego. Because if anything, in this present moment, it's our desires that really agitate us. It is our desires that really pump our blood and fill us with this irresistible urge to take action, to do something, that we need to be in the flow. And this urge is absolutely spot on, just that we have to abandon everything that has to do with the past in order to get there. And this is the hard part, because we can very easily abandon something that is unpleasant, something that left a very bitter taste in our mouths. So this is the kind of energy when you have certain traumas, when you have certain dissatisfactions, when you have certain frustrations. That is the easy part, because you know how to abandon it. You're being just rejected. It is more easy to navigate when you have something crystal clear in your subconscious that you have to release and eliminate. Yes, it is a struggle, it is a fight, it is depressive, it is not very easy, but it's still logical and rational. But when you don't have anything like that inside of you, when you're pretty much clear, either because basically nothing happened, or you already done a lot of inner work and cleared it, or you may have went to a therapist and with its help you're clear right now, it still isn't that easy, because you have to eliminate the good. You have to eliminate the pleasantries. You have to eliminate the big strong moments of nostalgia when so very many good and beautiful and magical things happened to you in the past. Well, it is a memory, so it has to be kept as memory. That is what happened, and it was a valuable source of lesson. But you're still not the same person who lived all those positive experiences, And the reason why it has to be eliminated, even if it's so positive, the emotional attachment part is what has to be eliminated, because you're not the same person anymore, and you're not gonna feel those experiences the same way as you have done in the past, even if they're very, very positive. So emotional satisfaction is gonna be totally different in the future, and this is exactly the message of the chariot, that we are progressing, we're heading into the future. This is where, like it or not, we're on the same boat and heading fast forward. But the full reverse, yes, it is a new beginning. It is something that all of us need to have in our lives, and it is the desire, the most purified desire of our hearts, the inner child. But it is reversed, so we don't know what it is, and we have absolutely no clue, not intuitively, not with our logic and foresight, not with our calculations. We simply don't know where we are heading towards. It is too mysterious, too unknowable, too divine for us to even decipher right now. So, like it or not, this is where there isn't right or wrong, there isn't good or bad choice. All of this is a big leap of faith. All of this is a big risk that we simply have to take. And the fact that we're losing our social security, the fact that we're losing the stability of our material lives, and not so much personally as in collectively, so everything is falling apart. This is like a celestial symbolism that all of us have to face the risks of material and physical existence, and our own structures of security no longer work. So all of us, both individually and collectively, regardless of our different opinions, regardless of our different experiences and however we perceive this, we're still in the same boat. And the best thing we can do in the present moment is just trust the process and go with the flow. We have already took the leap of faith. We have already jumped off the cliff or been pushed off the cliff. So this is where we simply cannot look back to the past with regret or nostalgia, because we are falling and there's nothing we can do to stop it. And we know that we're heading into deep waters. That's where we're falling into the ocean, this big Neptunian ocean. So we can just hope that we have already learned to swim, that we have already learned to navigate, and just let all the weight fall off of us, the weight of the past, the emotional baggage, even if that baggage is like a box full of treasures, good memories, nostalgic moments, moments of happiness, moments of fulfillment, moments of success. Or if they're the opposite of this, the baggage still has to fall off. We cannot carry a big chest full of treasures with us in the ocean, because it will drown us in that moment when we reach the water. So even if it's bad or good, we still have to release it. And this is exactly why this reading is closed by the Hangman and the Death card. Because regardless of what our inner truth is, regardless of how enlightened we are, regardless of how happy, safe, balanced, magical, high level, high frequency, divine we are, all of this doesn't really matter at all, even the slightest in the present moment, because all of us, humanity as a collective, is the Hangman, so we personally cannot be any different. And yes, the Death card, the Hand of Fate, Pluto in Capricorn, all of this is changing, all of this is going through a massive alchemical process, so to speak. So it doesn't matter who we are right now, because we are still going through this very profound transformation. And in the eyes of the divine, all of us are equal. And this equality is exactly what certain spiritualists or people who, are channeling the spirit cannot process or cannot accept, because they see that they have sacrificed all their lives for the knowledge and they're training, their karmic training, their studies, the work that they have invested, hard work, precious hours and moments of their lives sacrificed, and they're still equal, and for they cannot accept this injustice, because for them it is an injustice, because they have lived a life of sacrifice while other people didn't, or did the quite opposite, a hedonistic lifestyle. And why are we all of a sudden equal? Why are we all of a sudden on the same level? Well, this is karma. This is what it means being in a collective. Sacrificed that time of your life, the effort, the work you put into, so that you can navigate that present, so in the past basically, and now all of that is insignificant. So basically we are equal, and we have to accept this in a positive manner, and not in a manner which enrages us that some people have worked while others didn't. So why are we still in the same boat? Well, like it or not, we just are, and there's nothing we can do to change it. And also, in the eyes of the universe, it's fine like this. This was the original plan. This is forced unity. 2020, the number 4. So it doesn't matter if you're light, dark, if you're rich or poor, if you have worked all your life for knowledge, or you're absolutely ignorant, we're still in the same boat, and we're still equal, and this is what we have to process. And this is exactly the big change, the big pivotal moment, because in the future that we're heading towards, 2021 for example, that is where we're not gonna be equal. That is where the equality splits apart. Not in a bad way, not in an unjust matter, but in a manner which brings greater stability, a new hierarchical position, a new order. So that is when equality has to find a new and different expression. But in this present moment in 2020, we are forcefully, karmically basically made equal, and it has to be okay and fine like that. So the very, very best thing to do is just not immerse into our depressions, not immerse into the fear of not knowing where we're heading towards. And this is where we cannot even attach ourselves to the most positive and the most beautiful memories, moments of nostalgia, and all our good emotional baggage. This is where everything is just falling off, and that chariot is heading fast forward to the moment when we fall into the deep water, that full reversed, the surprising, unexpected, uncontrollable, unknowable, mysterious new beginning. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this was useful. Until next time, bye for now.